Alrighty. We are live. See some
We are.
people. Gosh, we got some people already joining us.
Wow.
I love it.
Hey,
What? Yeah.
booze. Oh,
Hi. What
sorry.
is going on? What is going on? You are listening to Tags Live and watching, of course, Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 617, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. It's lovely to see you this evening. And we're matching in shirts. Look.
We've got Tags Podcasts merch on, and yes, we are representing tonight, and we have got a lot to get into on this day. But like I said, we're in front of a virtual audience. I see some familiar faces. Hello, hello. We want you guys to comment throughout the hour. And, it's been a week, Kodi, post-election. We've been talking about our feelings, licking our wounds, and there is a lot of news to get into, including what was actually going on at Pornhub. They did a whole thing on their website to see what were people actually searching and what was trending, the search trends that exposed America's naughty coping mechanism when Trump actually won. And the Midwest had some of the most freakiest, but it was, yeah. I mean, Pornhub just dropped the latest stats for election week, and with Florida's top search being MAGA and Louisiana
Wow.
being goth, there's quite a few keywords that you might be surprised at. And I'm going to read you a few and then we're going to discuss. Over in Washington State, not surprisingly, they voted blue, Kodi. They were searching
Okay.
for transgender on Pornhub, maybe because we hope that we can continue to get transgender porn as we roll this out in the next 4 years. Oregon had the keyword deeper, whatever that meant. And I'm going to go through. Nevada had morning sex as their keywords. I'm not actually a big fan of morning sex, I have to say.
No, I've
I
come to
am.
love it more and more. Oh, you
Yeah.
are
Oh,
fabulous.
no, I'm a big fan. Yeah, I've always been a big fan.
Oh,
I'm very horny in the
love it.
morning. Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah, little known fact there. Have you ever been with somebody that's not as much more? To be honest, I'm not sure if my boyfriend's a big morning sex fan, but
he is now.
yeah, I better get on board.
I wasn't a
Especially,
big fan of morning sex before.
no?
No, I've come to enjoy it more and more and more. But when you're cuddling and then all of a sudden you get to the loving part, that's what makes morning sex amazing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, lovingness can be actually very nice as well, too, just to be cuddly and all that as well. That suffices a lot of needs, I think, for many of us. California, my original home state where I'm from, had thick and curvy as the keywords on Pornhub. This is between the dates November 3rd to 6th. This is what people were actually searching for, according to Pornhub. Arizona, ass licking. All right.
Oh,
New Mexico had butt plug as their top search terms. Colorado, no nut November. Okay. Wyoming, car sex. I like car sex. I think that's really hot to watch as well.
yeah.
Moving along the states here towards the east, North Dakota had Native American. Interesting. South Dakota had amateur cuckold as their top search words. Minnesota had sloppy seconds. Iowa rim job. Missouri blow bang. Okay.
What's that?
I don't know. Maybe we could look that
I'll
up.
Google it really quick.
Yeah, blowing people like a gang bang, but a blowjob bang, perhaps. Louisiana had goth, Wisconsin swap, Illinois chubby, Tennessee waxing genitals, Georgia panties, Michigan suck my balls, Ohio nympho, Pennsylvania tushy, West Virginia jiggly. These were just some of the key words that were coming up during this stressful time. Do any of these surprise you? Were you searching for porn during this thing? I will start first and say that I have committed during this time to produce more adult content. And I do a whole thing on my adult content where I tell stories. If I do a lot of solo work, and a lot of it is Bader stories using Bader Bomb. And it's a stroking section where I tell a story of a recent or a past experience that I had, and I vividly describe it on as I'm stroking, and I encourage you watching, the viewer, to stroke along with me. And sometimes I'll do some new techniques of stroking along the way, but it's always like story hour, story time hour of a really hot moment that I'm resharing that I experience. And I've had so many moments throughout the years that it's a really good way to watch me hear my story and bait for yourself. And I find that's a really good way that I'm increasing my content. I'll give those handles at the end of the show, but that's how one way. And I'm trying to produce at least one a week amongst some other adult content that I will put up on my adult pages. And that's how I'm coping with it and giving back to the people. But
He's so generous. Give back to the people. I love it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. What were you searching? What are some things that resonated with some of the keywords that Pornhub has produced?
Well, I'm always searching for porn, always. So
Okay.
it's a constant state. It's the way I give back by consuming. But yeah, I think that this is cool. I really identify with a lot of the different keywords that they put out there. Sloppy seconds really hit me. I was like, oh wow, I never thought of that. And the amateur cuckold, I enjoy watching that type of porn, but I can't see myself actually being involved in being an amateur cuckold unless I'm the one that is doing the cuckolding. I'm the one that is having sex with the husband's husband. I'm the
Is that
third
what that
party.
really involves?
It's when you're married or together in a relationship and someone comes in and has sex with your partner in front of you.
Okay. I mean, I've been in threesomes before where
Yeah.
at one point somebody's having sex with my partner because, well, I guess we could both double penetrate, but at least at that very moment, somebody was penetrating my partner. So I could see, could you do that? And
Yeah, I could do the other way too. I could be the person doing the cuckolding and have someone sitting down with like fully clothed or jacking off, and they're not involved in the sex at all while I have sex with their partner in front of them. I think that's
got
dope.
it.
I think that's amazing. Oh, and a blow bang is when you have it's a gang bang with just blowjobs, like you said.
Okay.
Good
It
job.
sounded like that's what it was. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, people were finding coping methods as every way they could during this period. I think we'll continue to. We've talked a lot about how we're going to continue to fight and what our commitment is, but we've got to have outlets. And I think that these are really good ones. And yeah, sex is so important at this particular time more than ever before. It's
Sure.
always important, though. We'll find a way to always make it important. So, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think even if it wasn't this time, it'd be like, you know what? Sex is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, at this time, I just want to make a quick announcement over at our Tags Patreon community. And this is where you get extra special sexy perks. And we're layering in a brand new one starting this week on Friday and every week, along with all the perks you'll get, like commercial free. You'll also get one episode extra tags episode per month, and one is coming out next week. But you'll also get our newest feature, and it's going to be Sex 50 and Fabulous. It's myself giving tips on how to stay young, youthful, and vibrant tips and tricks and lessons that I have learned over my 50 plus years. I am sharing them with you every week. A lot of them are going to be health and fitness. A lot of them are going to be stretching techniques. They're all going to be really things that I incorporate into my life on an everyday basis. And it will be maybe the makings of a book, actually, on down the road. But I'm going to be sharing with you different video tips. Sometimes I'll write them out on things that have worked for me to stay youthful, young, and vibrant. And I think we're always concerned about these kinds of things. And so this is one extra perk that you are going to be getting every week on our Tags Patreon community. And like I said, the first one drops on Friday and they'll come out every single week. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to take advantage of this, you can go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast and grab a tier. Both of the tiers that we have up there, we have 3 actually, but you'll get this extra new perk, 50 and fabulous tips and tricks from your host, Steve V. And you can also get a free tier too. If you just want to like sign up, I'm putting up free content every week as well. Start with that. If you just want to see what you can get for free, again, go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. It's our Tags Patreon sex community. And this is where you get extra special sexy perks. So join the community, people.
Yeah,
okay, come on over. Exactly. well, we've been talking a lot about some adult film stars that were very pro-Trump. There was 3 in particular that Out Magazine decided to profile that actually were showing their support for the left and why they actually voted against Trump. And there was a lot of things that they said. One of them, we'll read through all of them, but Axel Rockham is a gay porn star who's very sexy, Puerto Rican, and has been speaking up against Trump MAGA movement since 2015, really since the beginning. He wrote, "Emotionally, I'm shocked." He said his experience seeing certain industry peers coming out in full support of Trump. He said, "My heart can't understand how anyone, let alone fellow members of any marginalized community, gay, ethnic, sex worker, could support someone who conducts themselves the way Trump does, someone who openly and purposely inspires rage, insecurity, fear, and discomfort the way Trump does." And he added, "Intellectually, he can understand it." He said that the simple truth is that these people believe they have something to benefit and they don't understand or believe the risks that opposition has expressed. They don't believe these dangers will materialize when ironically many already have. He's got over 288,000 followers on Twitter, 40,000 followers on Instagram, 13,000 followers on TikTok. He's an influence and he did not have to speak this, but he's speaking up against Trump and warning against what could potentially be taken away from us. Somebody else, and then we'll discuss, that was Beau Butler, who warned that many of his friends, actually, many straight friends of his and gay, were leaning towards Trump and that secretly did vote for Trump, but that he's also shocked that all of the signs were there and that he thinks that people were voting for the wrong reasons, but that if you just read what they're potentially at stake, we could be losing a lot, especially as a sex worker and so on. When you hear some of these porn stars actually speaking up about what's at stake, and they didn't have to do this. A lot of people say, "Hey, you're a porn star, you're a sex worker, sit your ass down. What do you have to say about this?" But we do have a lot to say, and I include myself in this because we have a sex podcast. I produce adult content myself, and a lot of this is at stake. It's been at stake for the last several years, including Elon Musk, who owns Twitter, who knows, he could take away one of the outlets that has been used by adult performers to promote our adult content, and it could all be taken away in a nanosecond. And he's being put through the ranks by Donald Trump. When you hear a lot of these porn stars speaking of, what do you think?
Well, first off, I want to say a lot of people are migrating to Blue Sky. So look into Blue
Yeah.
Sky, see if you want to get on there, and because that's become an alternative now, especially for performers and things of that nature, adult performers. But yeah, they're really putting themselves out there. They're really doing what they have to do in order to make themselves feel more at peace with the community, with themselves, which I think is really respectable. And I think, you know, we stand beauty and brains in this camp. And the three of them, Bo Butler and Axel Rockham, who is super hot, by the way. I need to go give him a follow. And
Yeah.
Ruggery Valid, I don't know how to say his last name, but
Valdivia,
thank you. And they
who's
are they
Cuban American and lives in Florida, just to point that out.
I
And
know, right? So you know he's putting himself at risk. So, but they're being critical thinkers, and they are showing that they care about their respective communities, and I think it's just great. And more people need to be standing up like this.
yes, absolutely. I think this is the time. I think when you're on the other side, I think a lot of people that are, and we should mention them right now. There's one uh, porn star that is gay, because we looked it up earlier. Arad Winwin is what he goes by.
Mm,
Arad, adult gay porn performer Arad Winwin. He's kind of facing some backlash when he revealed his support for Donald Trump following the election. He posted on Instagram a graphic which read, "Congrats to the 47th President Donald J. Trump," that was originally created by the Daily Patriot, a conservative Instagram account. And he wrote, "All the best and mega congratulations to our president, Mr. at Real Donald Trump. Make America great and affordable again. And love is love. We're all in this together." It was a huge statement to put out there. And when pressed on it, Kodi, he said that he would have done the same thing if Kamala Harris had won. And that is really hard to believe that he would have done that, because if you look back at a lot of his postings, he was very much a right winger.
hmm
And a lot of people were quick to point out that, A, you're a immigrant yourself, you
Yep.
are gay, and you are an adult performer. The things that they're saying that they're going to take away, he does not care about you. And he lost, because they actually looked at his followers on Instagram after he posted this. He lost 15,390 as of this moment on
Wow.
Instagram, according to Social Blade. And that number might be clicking up. When you show your support like Arad has, who you were saying in our meeting is really hot as well.
I mean, the physical beauty is there, but I was thinking about it, and you know, his whole point of view and perspective just makes him not really that attractive to me. But uh, he was nice to look at. In the meantime, I have jacked off to him before, but never again, because I don't understand his perspective. He's from the Middle East. They're probably gonna just send him back to where he came from. I don't understand it. He's sending them back left and right. They had a whole Muslim ban. I don't know if he's Muslim. I don't know how he identifies, but they were trying to keep people from the Middle East from even coming here. I don't understand how someone can vote and lend their support to someone who is against their interests, that's against all that they are and their entire being. So I really don't get it. I he's fucking around. He's gonna find out
Yeah.
about what Donald Trump is really all about. So I can't get it. And you know, on his Instagram post, he was actually gloating and kind of getting into it with a lot of the people on there. And I can't wait for him to find out what it's really all about.
Right, right. I mean, hopefully it's not as bad as we all think, but we are going to keep our eyes on the administration. That's our commitment. But I do think when you stand up for something that is totally opposite, like you said, we pointed out he has everything against him that the Trump administration has said that they will not support. You are
Yeah.
not you are on their radar to be targeted. So I don't know why. Let's see how this works out for you, is because if this is who you stood for, let's see how this works out for you.
Yeah.
And yeah,
We'll see.
exactly. Okay, well, let's switch gears because People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive, which has been around since the 80s, y'all.
Yeah.
And we talk about it every year, I feel like, because it's always on the fence on how people feel on who they picked. And we talked a little bit about some of the people that were in the magazine last week, but now it's been revealed that John Krasinski, you all know him from The Office, Jack Ryan, on and on, married to who's he married to? The one and
Oh,
only. We love her.
okay. I do love her.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Anyways,
look it up now.
that he is actually voted the sexiest man alive. And a lot of people were a little bit mixed on social media. Some people were at first Trump won the election, and now it's John Krasinski winning People's Sexiest Man Alive. Another devastating Tuesday night, his people wrote.
It's not that bad. Calm down, girl.
Yeah, Emily Blunt.
The drama. Emily
Blunt, who we love. He's married to Emily Blunt. We love him. But a lot of people thought, like, what about somebody that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, Jonathan Bailey, who's in the upcoming Wicked.
I co-sign that.
Some people thought Glenn Powell could have been another great pick.
Okay.
There was a lot of other people.
Definitely better than John Krasinski.
Yes, exactly. Well, I don't know. I mean, how do we feel about? I mean, I'm not mad at John Krasinski. I'm not mad at this.
John Krasinski.
I'm not mad at it per se. I've always liked him. I've always thought he was cool. Is he the sexiest man alive? Maybe not. But
you're being nice. I love it.
People Magazine skews a little bit older, I think, and I think there's a lot of Jack Ryan fans, and I think he is kind of a solid, good-looking, safe bet. And I think people tends to vote on the safe bet. He wouldn't have been my pick, but he's not unattractive. I don't think he's unsexy either. It's just would have been my pick. How do you weigh in on this?
He's definitely not unattractive, okay? Because, with money, anybody can be attractive. But I do think that it's not the right pick. Do you know that there's never been a Latino sexiest man alive? Ever?
Are you sure Benjamin Bratt was never voted sexiest?
I'm pretty sure, because it was a post. I saw it on a post on Instagram, and someone said that. I think it was Kevin something, and
I thought Benjamin Bratt was at one point.
Let me look really quick.
Yeah, but if he wasn't, he should have been, because he's definitely one of the sexiest man even today. And I love Benjamin Bratt, but
me too. Perhaps... Yeah, I don't see him. He's sexiest man in Hollywood. No, I don't think he's ever been sexiest man alive. So, for my picks for sexiest man alive this year, Coleman Domingo would have been a great choice.
Yes.
Ricky Martin, I cannot believe that he has never been a sexiest man alive.
Astonishing.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
He was the biggest pop star back in the day when Livin' La Vida Loca came out. It was everywhere. So he should have.
But you say back in the day, one of the things I think they vote on is relevancy today. Ricky Martin is back in the limelight. He's on a major series on Apple TV that is doing really well. He's like on tour. His Instagram is like on fire post divorce even. He is just really living la vida loca today, I think. Yeah. And so to me, he's definitely a pick. Pedro
Pascal. Oh my goodness.
How is also on fire. Yeah. I think he should definitely be in the running. And there's a lot of Coleman Domingo you mentioned. There's a lot of them that I think. Jonathan Bailey, I think, definitely could be
I co-sign that.
Yes. Super sexy. Yeah, absolutely. Matt Bomer, absolutely.
Matt Bomer. Yeah, there's just so many more other people, and I just don't get John Krasinski. I understand that some people find him attractive, but for me, he is not the sexiest man alive. And I think for a lot of people out there, maybe the grandmas voted, and then they voted him in, and Okay, thank you, Abuelita, but
It's kind
he's
of
not my
a
sexiest man
it's
alive.
kind of a curse these days because for the last several years, I mean, back in the day, I can remember when it was like a hot commodity. If you got that, people
Hmm.
respected it. We didn't have social media back then. In the last several years, because of social media, people are not happy with the pics and keep in mind that it's not just the one person they pick. Then they go through the magazine and there's several other people that they list. We
Yeah.
talked about it earlier this in our other episode that actually I think there's only one gay person, celebrity that they picked. And we just listed a slew of them right now that they could pick. But it's always that one that we're looking at, the cover model, that gets the most attention. And for the last several years, it's kind of a curse in many ways because the internet goes crazy half and half on supporting and not supporting the pick every year. And we've been doing this for the last several years, talking about this. So it's
Yeah.
almost like maybe you don't want to get picked because you're going to get torn apart
You're gonna
on
get
social media.
scrutinized.
Yeah, it's maybe not the best pick right now. And what does it even really mean? I mean, there's one sexiest man alive. Seriously, it's just when we
No.
really well, I know that, but
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of an outdated phenomenon that used to be kind of fun that I don't think has really moved through time gracefully. It's just you don't really even want to get that because that you're going to be scrutinized and torn
Maybe the
apart on
way
social media.
Yeah, maybe the way to update it is to open it up to a lot more people. Maybe have it be the sexiest men alive, and then it wouldn't be so much pressure for that one person.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Out Magazine should do their sexiest person
Ooh.
alive. But of course, we
And they
would do
should call
person
us.
alive. Yeah,
And
exactly.
they should call us for sure.
Yeah, and open it up to other categories as well, not just the famous. Okay, well, let's move on to somebody that we think should have been a part of it, and it's Jonathan Bailey. Jonathan Bailey was he's going to be in the brand new Wicked, but he was in Strangers. What was the show? Fellow Travelers, and
Mhm.
he's a hot commodity right now. We think he should have actually had a take on it, but he was talking recently about being in the best shape he's ever been. And here's what he had to say. Well, they should be dancing from a young age, meaning if he had to give advice to parents, it's encouraging your sons to dance and do ballet. I played rugby growing up as well. I played a lot of tennis now. I did ballet for a good few years. And I think the way that the body responds to that and gymnastics, I think that's the key. Lots of handstands and deep squats. The idea that some lad somewhere might turn to their mom and dad and go, I really want to dance, that's what it's all about. And also, they'll get bloody good legs in the process. I probably am in the best shape I've ever been. I honestly think it reflects a confidence and identity in oneself. And you realize how important it is to just completely be yourself. And I would have to agree with it because when my parents threw me into gymnastics, we did a lot of dance classes. I had an Olympian as a coach, and
Oh,
he was also in ballet, and we did a lot of ballet, and it just shaped and transformed my body at such an early age that I take with me into my 50s that I'll share with you on our new Patreon, 50 and Fabulous, that you can get. But it was being thrown into these things at such an early age, things like mobility, and I still do handstands today because
oh,
of those
cool.
early days of gymnastics and dance that I was really, and the discipline that you get. But it's never too late to start. And what do you think about Jonathan Bailey and sharing how he has his sculpted body and that he encourages parents to put their children in dance and things like gymnastics?
Oh, definitely. And there's so many benefits to dancing in gymnastics that you don't even that he'd even mention because it's good for your soul. It's good to create, it's good for your body, like you were saying, stretches and things of that nature. So I think Jonathan's on the right track. He's giving great advice to kids out there so that they can be as have not really have fear when it comes to wanting to embrace these types of things because I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes about people who young kids, especially young boys, that go into dance and things of that nature. So yeah, everybody just live fearless.
Absolutely. And you brought up good points that the focus that you can get in many of these things. I've parlayed, obviously I'm not doing flips and tricks like I used to do, but what I am doing now is yoga. And I was just doing yoga at Vakaya Mexico resort. And you're so in the moment with yoga and it's so good for your body. And there's no phones allowed. It's just put aside and you have to really, it's a meditative sport that you take it where you're at and it's so good for your body. And I love yoga. And I was just reminded of it last week, and I'm going to continue to do more yoga because it's just so nourishing for your body. And you'll see some of that on our Patreon page as well.
Love it.
As I share that. So, but let's keep Jonathan in the mix because he is promoting Wicked and he was just in Mexico City. And, you know, here they are trying to promote this probably PG rated film, correct? And yet there was, yeah. And yet there was somebody in the line that greeted him, a fan that really wanted him to sign a picture from his last series, Fellow Travelers, you know, the one with Matt Bomer. And there's a very famous scene with Matt Bomer where the two of them meet and Matt Bomer makes Jonathan Bailey's character sub for him. And before they have any sex, he tells him to take his pants off and to get down on his knees and to put Matt Bomer's foot in Jonathan Bailey's mouth. And it's like this most amazing scene. If you're a foot fetish fan, it's one of the most iconic foot scenes ever. And it's so hot. Well, this fan had a whole picture of it blown up and said, would you, Jonathan Bailey, please sign this? I'm such a fan of you. And I'm such a fan of this scene of you sucking on Matt Bomer's toes in this character. And you know that Jonathan Bailey did it and said, absolutely. And then posted about it too and said he was so happy to have this moment and signed it for him. It just goes to show how cool he is. And I just think we're moving in a different, where kinky things like foot fetishes are not that. I mean, I've gotten my boyfriend to say that he'll perform, perhaps he's watching right now, but in one of my adult content moments. And the other day, he handed me his phone. He says, can you plug this in? And he handed it to me with his foot. And I knew he knew what he was doing, but but I thought it was really hot.
Hilarious.
I grabbed it from the phone from his foot, and it was really hot. But I mean, what do you think?
You didn't put it in your mouth? Why did you?
Oh, I already had put the foot. I put not the phone, but the foot. I have already put it in my mouth several times. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Love it.
Definitely. We have definitely gone there.
Hey, I think that Jonathan Bailey is just an awesome person. He exudes warmth and a welcoming persona. So it does not surprise me that he signed this. I think he actually probably got a hoot out of it because he enjoyed that scene way from what I don't think half of that was acting. I think that some of it was his actual pleasure that was seeping into that performance.
Well, Matt Bomer, my goodness. And Matt Bomer.
Both of them.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. I'm so happy that, you know, we're in a state where we can actually take something like that and have somebody sign it and not really be reprimanded or made to feel ashamed about having a little bit of a fetish about something. A couple stories ago, we were looking at a map of all of the keywords that people were looking for on Pornhub, and they were varied, and people have their own kinks.
Yeah.
So be open to them and be welcoming, and don't shame anybody because you have your stuff too, guaranteed.
Well stated, Kodi. Absolutely.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk some health because we always have to report on that. And there's a new report out that says that STIs have decreased for the first time in decades And some of the reasons might surprise you. It's a really good article. I'll actually post this on TAGSPodcast.com, reference episode 617. But the top 3 notifiable sexually transmitted infections have all decreased by 2% over the last year. And that might not seem like a lot, but it's going in the right direction. And this is according to the CDC. The total diagnoses of primary and secondary syphilis dropped 10% in the last year. And the overall decrease is related to something that has generally improved the health of our lives. The decline in cases is especially important for our community, Kodi, and 13% among gay and bi men for the first time ever since reporting on these groups began. The trend is, I think, the most important thing about this study is that it's saying that, you know, mainly things like doxy-pep are really coming into play. And doxy-pep, if you haven't heard already, is an antibiotic that many gay men are being prescribed now to be taken when you know you've had a lot of sex, and you can take this within 72 hours post-sex, and it can prevent things. And it's preventing things like the ones that I just mentioned: syphilis, gonorrhea. Chlamydia, Kodi, is still showing the same signs, but fortunately, chlamydia can still be prevented, but it can also be prevented when you take things like doxy-pep. And it's a direction, these are showing signs that it's going in the right direction. When you hear this, what are your thoughts that at least we're getting a handle of some of these STIs?
Yeah, it's totally amazing. I think that as far as I think the article is spot on when it comes to the introduction of doxy-pep and having it out there in the zeitgeist and having people know about it. I think that's the key component, the advertising, getting the word out there and letting people know that this is available to them. Because if you don't know, if you don't know better, how can you do better, honestly? So I think that that is the most important part. And as long as we're getting the word out like we're doing on this show, then I think that things will continue to steadily decrease.
I agree. And related to this, gay men have been cautious about Mpox, monkeypox, correct? And there's another really good article that shows that our community has been really responsive when it comes to things like vaccinations, about medications. We are very quick to jump on the bandwagon. Just look at PrEP, for example. Just look at the ending or the managing of HIV with U equals U, and many people just have to take one pill now. We were very quick to get on the Mpox vaccination, but this article points to the fact that at the time we had somebody that was in office essentially that was appointed by the Biden administration to really further along and get these vaccinations out there. What does this mean right now? Well, Mpox is actually showing that there are cases in Africa that are really becoming more proliferant, and they're actually making our way into the States. And so what can we do? Since our history has shown that we're really quick to respond, a Trump administration may not have the same tactics to combat this, nor want to. And there's already been threats that they could take away things like PrEP because it goes against religious communities that think that are against homosexuality. So I think what the article is really stating is that many of us got the Mpox vaccination, but that like mine, and I believe yours as well, has lapsed. And we should probably get it now while it's available to us, because it lasts for, I forget how long it lasted, of 3 years, I believe. And we should probably get it now if we find ourselves sexually active. I know I'm going to try and get it now before the new administration gets into effect, because who knows, he's not going to have the same care and concern like the Biden administration did. And I just think that it's more imperative now to get ahead of this and to talk to your doctors, even if you have to go to a clinic to get it. I think we should all get a re-up on the Mpox vaccination, and I am going to do this as soon as I get back. I'm leaving this week, but as soon as I get back, I'm definitely going to get a new update on my Mpox vaccination, and that should be the warning, I think.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. One would think that, you know, DT having gone through a pandemic, a global pandemic, which is what I think kind of inspired everybody to actually do their due diligence as far as Mpox is concerned. Having just gone through that pandemic, it really made them go out and want to stem the tide of this transferring and spreading throughout the populace. So I think that my mind wants to say that DT went through the pandemic before, so he should be more inclined to take it seriously. But again, I don't take anything for granted. I think it's best that we all do our due diligence and make sure that we get out there and protect ourselves and protect other people, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. So I will be reporting on when I get my MPOX, and
Oh,
I'm
cool.
not sure that you don't hear about it in your local communities, but I think you have to actually look for it. And there's a local clinic here where I live, and I'm going to try and go
Hmm.
there. But everybody should kind of look within your own community if you're going to be sexually active. We just want to get ahead of this, like our community always has been, and I think that
Yeah.
but you may have to search for it because it's not something that maybe your primary care doctor even has to offer you. And so you might have to go to specialized clinics like we did in the past. So if
Yeah.
anybody has things, we'll report on it throughout, your community. We'd be happy to relay those messages on where you can get it in your specific area. I will as soon as I get mine, but I think it's really important. We want to get ahead of it since they're showing signs of Africa that could potentially make its way out here to the
Wow.
States and Europe. So, and we want everyone to be safe.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
keep everybody informed.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to ask
All
my
right.
doctor too. So, right.
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely ask your doctor, and that's always a good place to start with initially. Well, let's go back in time to last year when Saltburn, the film that really made its way onto Prime and was such a good film. Did you ever watch it, Kodi?
Oh,
Saltburn?
yes. I
It
loved it.
was
I
so
would
good.
totally watch it again.
Yes, about two guys that were and they were in school,
And
and one of
uni.
in uni, exactly, and one of them comes from a very affluent family and invites the other actor over to, played by Barry Keoghan, who doesn't really have a family, and the same way, and everything ensues. If you haven't watched it, it's a really good film. But finally, Barry Keoghan, the actor, and is talking about his famous nude scene at the end of Saltburn. You know, the one where he's dancing to Murder on the Dance Floor, and he's naked when he finally takes over the the whole estate, and he's
Hmm.
dancing naked, and he's talking about how that scene came about and was it really necessary for him to be naked, and he had a lot of questions with the director, and ultimately they decided that it was really important that he did do that, and because it was ownership, it was freedom, and it really made sense. And he was talking about if he used a prosthetic or not. And he said, absolutely not. He didn't do that. But that he had to own that scene. He had to own being naked. He said, maybe it's better if I was just naked. He said, we had to go to that place. And when it's part of the job, Kodi,
Hmm.
I don't think I could see that scene without him being naked dancing around that mansion. It would have been the same if he was clothed. Do you agree with me at least on that?
Oh, definitely. 100%. Because it shows a freedom. Like, this is finally his space and he can just dance around naked whenever. So it really was impactful, him being
Yeah, and I
naked.
was thinking about could I relate to that? And I have a friend that has said, "Oh, please, Steve, like you being naked is just like give me a break. It's not that hard for you because I mean, I'm not that I'm fairly well endowed down there, but that doesn't. I tried to tell him it doesn't really matter whether how big or small you are. I think in the end, when you go to the naked beach, you just have to kind of own it. And
Yeah.
if you've had issues with being naked, like we all have throughout the years growing up, being endowed, being not endowed, I think you have to get over that hump and that it almost doesn't matter. And for me, recently, I'm so comfortable now being naked that it doesn't really matter. And recently on the Vacaya, Mexico resort, I was helping out Will of Tantric Fitness, tantricfitness.com. Shout out to him. He's coming back on the show soon. But I was part of his tantric class and I had to try on cock rings, I had to try on ball stretchers, and I had to try put on a penis pump in front of about almost 50 men and model these things. And to be honest, I wasn't really, the penis pump was really probably the most interesting one because I had to practice the night before because I had never put on a penis, and you have to really push it into your abdomen and really hard so it suctions to your body, right? Because you don't want any air to get out. And then you start pumping, but you can't go too high, and it really pumps up your dick, like it blows it up like a balloon. And I did that, and I was walking around, and you can do it, and then you can let go, and you can just kind of shimmy your dick. And I was doing that. Everybody was looking at my blown up penis, which normally can get really big, but it was like huge with the penis pump. And I think the key for me, because people are asking me, it was part of my job. So
yeah,
I didn't think of any differently of it. I also didn't look in everyone's eyes. I just kind of looked like above everyone's eyes, but I was fully free to go up to everybody and show them it. And that was my way it was work for me, but it was also, this is me and I'm doing a job right now. And that's how I was able to do it without feeling, oh my God, everyone's looking at my blown up penis down here. And I was fine with it. I'm totally fine being naked. Can you relate to Barry when it's part of the job, or what's your experience just being naked, and what are people going to think?
Before I answer, I want to know, does the blown up penis, does it stay blown up once you take the penis pump off, or what is the purpose?
Okay, so a couple things here. Let me share with you.
Me.
So one of the things that you can do, if you do it over time, you can actually stretch the penis and it actually long, but it takes a long time and you have to be consistent. So there's that. Number two, you can blow it up, and there's a way that you could put a cock ring at the edge of the penis pump. So in other words, it's right at the edge of it, so that when you turn off the lever to release the pump, you can then
there's a lever.
Yeah. So when that's deflating, you already have slid on a cock ring, like a silicone cock ring, and you've rolled it onto your penis. So you might have lost a minuscule of air out of the penis pump, but not much. And if you put on a silicone cock ring and you slide that on as you're taking the penis pump off, you're keeping all of the pump, most of it, at least hopefully 90% of it, in there. And so see how that could be really beneficial. But if you combine it, if you're already turned on, like I was doing this in front of a crowd that was more a classroom setting. If you're doing it with somebody that you're already into and you want to pump it up as much as you can, you're probably already turned on by your partner.
Yeah.
And don't even need a little bit of that. It's going to pump it up to the most that it can. And then if you put on that cock ring, it's going to keep it there. Even if you didn't have the cock ring, it's probably going to keep it there anyway because you're already turned on by your partner. Does that make sense? Yeah.
100%. Now I want one. I got to order one now.
Yeah. Penis pumps all the way. Penis pumps in the USA.
Yes. You're making a song. Penis pumps in the USA. Oh man. Yeah, I love being naked though. If it was for work, I could do it.
Yeah.
If it was for, I like to dance around the house naked too, like me and Barry Keoghan. So we could do it together. I can move the Saltburn, and then it would be a party, honey. A penis pump party.
Were you always like this?
I've been like this for quite a while, since
Yeah.
at least my mid-20s, late 20s, probably. So yeah.
Yeah. And then
I
we've gone
love
to the
being
naked
naked. It's
beach,
freeing.
and
Yeah.
you've totally been free to be naked, and
I
it
was
takes
nervous at
a
first.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
takes a
yeah,
minute to get comfortable with it. And
but
yeah, I was
you do. You adjust, and like you said, all penises are equal on the naked beach. So I think that
in
it's,
the dark room, in the naked beach. It's really, yeah, I was just reading this thread on Reddit that was just talking about this great experience that these guys had had overseas in Spain, and how all penises were there and they didn't feel at all self-conscious like they thought they were
Mhm.
going to, because really when it comes down to it, everybody's, it's just like a fest of exploration, and people are really, there's not this hierarchy that people like to think that there is, and it's really
Yeah.
just you getting over your mental capacity and just jumping into the moment. And when you do, people are really like accepting and get into it, big,
Yeah.
small, all sizes welcome.
Somebody's gonna love your penis,
Oh
no matter what it
yeah.
looks like.
Well, let's give some advice. And which one did we want to go with first? The
The one about the getting your partner to
first year
um
bliss?
first year bliss. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Yes, I was
Okay.
looking for
So
it.
this, we wanted to give some advice here. We're always here for you, sex and relationship advice. You can always write into us as well. But this one comes from Reddit, and they wrote, "First year bliss dis. How to ask the boyfriend to prioritize me slightly more during a budding romance." And he's 37, dating another 37-year-old for 6 months. They say that they're very compatible when it comes to the day-to-day activities. So cooking, everything is all good. Our first fight was about our first getaway, which was with his, one of them has a friend that they've known for years. Her and her family,
Mhm.
leaving me feeling like the accessory to their pseudo son-in-law. Boyfriend is currently on another international trip with the same cohort, and Thanksgiving plans with them as well seem to be all with this girlfriend and her family. We have talked about it, and he expressed he'll make an effort. Unfortunately, the other plans have been made in advance of meeting me, and I didn't want to fight for space that I will be ignored. I also feel bad of asking for more time because of his extensive history with them, and his chosen family to our community is so important. I feel a lot of difficulty with asking him for more time or special moments with me, fearing it comes off as needy, but it's been eating away. Any suggestions? I mean, this is something that I think a lot of people deal with, and I can relate to this a little bit as well, where
Me too.
when you get with somebody, they have a life and a family, a chosen family that you may did not necessarily sign up for, but you kind of have to go with. And I've learned to release a lot of that with my relationship too, because my boyfriend has friends, family that have been important to him, one of which we're going to welcome from Miami during New Year's Eve. And
Oh,
yeah, and he's certainly, my boyfriend's been very welcoming to my story. And I just think we all bring a lot of things. But if you are feeling left out, I've had a discussion with in my relationship where maybe there was a friend that was maybe calling and thinking he could call at all hours, and that my boyfriend could take that call all the times. And I let him know that no, if we're together, I don't want you taking, and he doesn't anymore. And so we made that compromise. But I realize he still has these people in his life, and I welcome that as well. I think you have to have these conversations about compromise and how you're feeling, and you can't go overboard, but you also need to let them know how you feel. How do you weigh it?
You read my mind basically, because that is the way to go. You have to be patient with people because, like you said, Steve, this is something that's been going on in his life for years and years and years. How hard is it to break up something like that? It's as far, I mean, the pattern, not necessarily
Yeah.
the relationship. So you have to be patient. You also have to advocate for your feelings and where you are and who you are and what you need in the relationship. But you have to be welcoming and loving in advocating for yourself, because people are people. They're not going to change overnight as far as their habits are concerned. So make sure that you are standing your ground, that you are communicating, because that's the most important part of it, and that you are just, doing it with love. Because this sounds like an amazing relationship, and it sounds like you've extended your family. So embrace it all.
Yeah, I mean, we fail to realize that we think that when we get with the person that we are just with them, but no, we're with them and their life, and they are with us and our lifestyle and our people
Hmm.
in our world. And so when you realize that, you have to really make you have to really be open to these people that have been in your partner's life for years, and realize they're also doing the same with your people as well. But
That's right.
like you said, there's room for making it known that you take a little bit of priority when it comes to certain things. And it's a fine line, but it can be done. It's worked
Yeah.
with me, and I think that it can totally be done, but it's a fine line of
And like you said,
navigating that,
compromise. Yes.
compromising, yes, picking your battles and figuring out what's really important to you. So, okay, hope that helps. And lastly, it's straight up gay porns. They're back with who took the best photo of the week. And this week, they're asking the question out of 11 gay porn stars who took the best photo. It's our job on an audio podcast when the show gets repackaged to vividly describe which one we chose and why. And you should vote on this. I'll post this on Tags Podcast reference episode 617. I just didn't love all of the picks this week as I normally do, but
What?
if I had to pick, I would choose Joshua Mateo, who's the last one, who is very glistening and dark at the end with a nice goatee,
Oh
sitting in
yeah.
front of like a
He's sexy.
bookcase. He's so glistening in it. There's the light is shining right on his right pec, on his left upper abdominal. He's very smooth with a really nice dick just coming down slightly to the right. And he's got, I think when you can stare into the camera and he's got these beautiful big brown eyes, he is just asking for it. It's a gorgeous picture. He gets my
Yeah.
vote. Who is your pick?
So I pick Yes Braun this week. He is uh, fully
He's
naked, and it
number
looks like,
two.
is he number two? Oh, I have good
Yeah.
taste.
Mine's number three.
Oh, we both have good taste.
Okay.
He's fully naked and tatted all up. It looks like he's in a home gym of some sort, because I hope he's not naked in an actual gym. Well, that would be hot too.
That
But
would be.
it's a mirror, right? It's a mirror selfie. He's holding a phone in the picture, and just the lighting and that dick and those tattoos are really making me pick this picture, because it's stellar. It's amazing. And I'm surprised that you didn't like any of the others. I thought you would really like Raphael James.
Let me look at Raphael James because he may have been the other one that I was look. Which one's Raphael James?
He's
Let
right
me just.
under Yes Braun, and he's
Oh
above
yes, he was
Peter.
my number two pick. Yes, very thick
See, I
and
know, I know
sexy.
my boo.
Yes, you were correct. Doug watching us live says Finn August gets his pick. James, hello, James. Mr. James says Gabriel Colimra for me as another pick. Those are good picks too. Yeah, actually, maybe it
Oh
was
yeah.
better than I thought this week, and I just need to do a little bit deeper dive into this. But those are the picks. I'll post this on Tags Podcast, episode 617. I want to thank our virtual audience for watching us and supporting us. Oh, Caladad says Joshua Mateo as well. So, okay, more votes for Joshua. You can always follow my co-host, follow him on the gram at Mr. Maurice. He's also got an Indiegogo out right now where he's raising funds for his upcoming EP. He's got a new single coming out very soon, and people should go to Indiegogo and look for Kodi Maurice, correct?
Yep, that's it.
All right. List that on show notes. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Or go to my Twitter account where you do get, and my commitment to you, for new content with my adult content. OnlyFans just for fans. Go to @TAGSPodcast. You'll get a preview of it, and the links are there to actually subscribe to see the actual content. Go to @TAGSPodcast and go to our Patreon page where you can support the show. You can get a free account where you get updates every week, but you can get extra special sexy perks like our brand new 50 and Fabulous, where I'm going to be giving you tips on staying young and youthful, but you've also got other things like commercial free and a brand new extra tags every month. New one coming out next week. Go to patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. And thanks everybody, as always. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay
sex.
Lovely.